So coming to this thing, so initially to start with, we will see what is the GitHub status. We are in blanched class 2, which was clean enough. Means git status clean means there is nothing to commit. Now we need to go back to the, so what is the default branch for us? Dev. Dev is a reference, right? So from the dev branch, we can work, or master branch. Here in this case, it is master. So if you say git branch, we can say like class 1, class 2, and main. Now I go back to the main branch, git checkout main. If you want, like you can do a git pull. Means to that branch, what are things are added. See everything you are getting now, the local changes. Or like git pull origin main. So you got the latest changes, all the changes. Now from here, we need to create a new branch. So for creating a new branch, it's a simple thing. Git checkout. So initially you have like git branch means you have some branches. Git checkout -b. Whenever you're creating a branch for the first time, you can do like a -b class 03. Now from main branch, the class 03 was created. So you can do like git pull origin main. So from main, if there are any new changes you want to get, you can do it. Now if you do like a git status, you have git status is clean. So like this, you have a clean branch. Now coming to this, what we gonna work? So about the built-in functions and others. So what are the built-in functions, how they can help us, and all these things we can see. So initially to start with, so there were like built-in functions and comment operator. So first we can work on the comment operator. E comment operator .py. So this time I want to show you not just like a py file. So with a .ipynb, that also I want to show. So initially, right, comments work in a different way. We have like the shebang line, which we learned on the other day. User bin Python or Python 3, whichever is our thing. I told that this line is like a comment line in Python Windows, whereas in Linux and Mac, it will be helping like a for the / executions. Similarly, I told that we will have a doc strings about the program that we wrote. So learning importance of comment operator. So this is the doc string for the documentation. Now for the writing, number 1, if I say print of say hello world. When I run this program, how do I run? I cannot simply run this program. For running it, I need to go to the directory. So if I go to the introduction, so if I say cd 01 introduction, so clear screen and Python is so and so. That is how we run a program. Hello world. Now, if I say hello world 2, so hello world 3, right? This I gave 3 statements now. This time you can see all 3 statements are executing. But what if I place a hash before it? So you can specifically write a hash, or you can use a shortcut called as control +/ for commenting, uncommenting. You select a line, or you click on a line, do control /, or you select multiple lines, do control /. Either way it works. And also we should note that Python has only line comment operator. So no multi-line. No multi-line comment operator. So then what if I need to do for multiple lines? You just select all the lines and do control /. That's it. If you want to uncomment also the same process. Then what will happen if I comment it? If I say Python is so and so. Previously, you saw all the three commands are executed, but now only two came. Now coming to the third case, what if I place a hash here? So did you see that I place the hash within the quotes? Within quotes, if I place, it will treat like an ordinary character. It is no more treated like a operator. So I can write the same. So anything within quotes is a string character. So this is one kind of comment. And the beauty of comment operator is that the moment it is encountered, from that position onwards, right side till the end of that line, it will be commenting. So due to that, I want to tell you one more thing. What if I have a comment operator here like this in the hash? Did you see that this is a quite possibility that you can have a hash here? And did you see that from right side onwards, it is ignoring all? Now, what would be an issue is that for this print brace, there is no corresponding closing brace. So that is what we understood. If you want to write that comment, I can write clearly. Okay, and I commented it. This is like comment 4. Now, what if I do the things in a different way? The same operator, what if I place here? Will it work? Yes. Print is a function, but you are not associating with anything. So this print makes no sense. It's like treated, but it will not make any sense. So, and also to help you understand that, if you want to make like a empty print statement, so this is an example. So empty print statement. So it will print an empty line. So like that, we can write anything. And not only this, within the print, we can write any garbage character or anything. It makes no sense. So once you place everything like this, it is called as a comment operator. So fine, hope you understood now. Next, going further, after the comment operator, we have the next one, which is keywords, operators, and built-in functions. In Python, there were like built-in functions. So Python org. So built-in functions, if I say, you can notice that if you see the official document, these were the built-in functions. 3.12, for that these were the built-in functions. So this is the exact reference for us to help understand like what are the built-in functions and others. Now, what is the point of these built-in functions? How they can help us? So I am making a comparison. So totally I have learned all. If I can place them, F. So this is how we do, right? F functions.txt. If you see the built-in functions, there were these many built-in functions. In Python 3, they were like 3.11, even 3.12 also same. There is nothing new came. So totally 71 built-in functions are there. In Python 2, there were 64. So of course, Python 2 is a history, but just letting you know that. So we will not learn all the functions at one shot now. It's better to learn one after the other whenever their importance is coming. If you observe carefully, we already worked on two built-in functions by now. One, the print statement, which will print the any things, and the type function, which will tell the type of the things. At the same time, it's like English like language. You can understand by seeing the things. Minimum, maximum. So, okay, length. But slowly we will use them whenever their need is there. So now coming to the first print statement. So, sorry, first one among them, which is the print. Till now, you know about the concept of print. How better we can do with print, I will show you. So for that, to understand about the print, so g underscore print function I want to do. So instead of .py, for the first time, I'm showing .ipynb. See, .ipynb. What will happen? The moment you write like a ipynb, it becomes a Jupyter notebook or an IPython notebook. IPython notebook is the old name. So later on, they introduced it called a Jupyter notebook by having multiple languages. But so whatever you see in real time outside, this is the Jupyter notebook. So for working in the Jupyter notebook, you don't need to go to the terminal and run the program. You can do here itself. For that, you should first select the kernel. So kernel means like for execution kind of engine, you can think like that. So it will first install that. So, and then it will ask which Python environment I need to work. So whatever the Python is installed, the same thing we are using. But later on, I will introduce a concept called as virtual environments. Then things will change. But this is what we have chosen. After choosing, it is like a typical program. So we can say like, hello world. You do like a shift enter. If you do like a shift enter, that cell will be executed. Or manually, you can go and write for a particular cell to execute. So like this, in one line, you can write and execute, or multiple lines, you can write and execute. Everything is fine. Sir, what if I place some kind of, doc string? So if you write like a doc string, printf, purpose, and others, then what will happen if you click? So it is treated like an ordinary string and it is processed. Means, in fact, when you do like a doc string, it will be processed in the same way in the program also, but you don't see the effect. So that's why I say there is a difference between doc strings and comments. So you should know when to use a doc string and when to use a comment. I will give a simple example that one of the person, this is my experience. So in one working on one of the product, they need to test with multiple passwords, means multiple versions, dev UAT production like that. What he did, he took the passwords and plain text he placed in a comments initially. So then like every time he's changing the things, right? He thought like, placing a doc string is better. And he used to copy paste and he used to work. As he placed in the doc strings, the output came in the documentation when they submitted to the client. Then you can understand what will happen. So that's the reason I'm saying you should be very clear enough what you are placing in doc strings, what you are placing in comments. Of course, placing in a comments is also not a good idea of the sensitive things, but still I'm telling is a use case. Now coming to one thing. So let's say I'm making some assignment. Name is equal to Almighty. So which is a string. If I place it, did you see? Name was created. That's it. So it also tells how much time it took for processing also. So now, as I placed it, I want to print the name. The beauty of interactive mode is that we need not have a print statement. Without print statement also we can print. But in a program, we cannot do that. That's the difference. Now, if I write like a print statement, then you will see same Almighty. But the difference is what? Print is, polishing the result, right? Whether it is a string or a float or anything, it will show like this. Whereas if you are printing in a interactive mode, so then it will tell what data type also it tries to show. For strings, so it will show like this. But for integers and others, we need not show, right? Only for strings, it will have an extra quotes. And also I told single, double, triple quotes doesn't matter. Whatever you give, it can process in that way. So now what if I place name as a string? Hope you remember. And what if I have multiple things? Multiple print statements. It works. So like this, you can have like multiple statements or multiple things in the same statement we can have. I can have like this now. I have a colon. I have like a equal to like this. See, I have like multiple statements. All statements for executing. Same like a typical Python program. So, but you can do interactively. That's the reason. So you can see notebooks used more frequently by the data scientists or like data engineers or like analysts who want to process on the same thing multiple times. But if you want to create like a solution, like a microservice or something, That's where you need to go for a Python program. So, and if you want to do like, name of the student is name. So now did you observe? So the difference what I'm trying to do. So name of the student I gave. In the same fashion, I'm giving name of the student is the same quotes I'm placing it outside. So did you observe the difference? So I'm placing it again, say here. Already you executed something. It showed like line 9, right? So whenever you are executing every time, it will change the value. Now I want to make two statements in the same thing, modifying the same cell. Now did you see? It told 10 and it processed both the things. So when you add like a comma, did you observe what happened? Now the same thing I am doing. So again repeating, but this time I'm removing this extra white space. If I remove the extra white space, did you see even then there is a small white space? So there is something interesting. I will show you. And there is one more way, like instead of this one, as both are strings, if both are of same type, we can use the plus operator. Now, did you observe the difference? When you do a plus, it is not adding an extra space, but when you do like a comma, it is adding more space. To understand this further, I will show you something very interesting. How the spacing works and how it is helping us means, in Python print statement, print is a function I told, right? So along with there is one more operator called as sep, means separator. So by default that separator is a white space. If you observe, this is a white space. So here I didn't give in the first case. Second case, default also I gave white space. So next onwards I gave different characters. When I gave whatever character as a separator, that is coming in the output. So whenever you have a comma, it will work. To understand it further more deep, instead of one comma, let me do something like this. I told that within the print statement, print function, we can have multiple data types. Assuming that I'm having like this, now you can clearly observe. The default separator is sep equal to white space. If you give explicitly like this also, it works in the same way. But what if I give a different separator? I have a different separator. Did you observe what's happening? So now, coming to this Python. Python is like a dynamic type of language. Till now, what is the value of name? Name is like a string I gave, right? Name is almighty I gave, which is a string. So that I can change immediately. So to change that, let me do something like this now. I have placed a name is equal to 123 so and so. I am asking to print. So the beauty of comma is that no matter what data types of both are, we can do the processing. But what if you are doing like a plus operator? Can we do with a plus operator? No, because like if you observe, so this one is a string and this was an integer now. So we cannot add a string and an integer. It will throw an error, right? That we are sure. So when something is failing, it will fail like this. It will show the error and everything. Next, so you need to understand there is one more point in Python that apart from Python being a dynamic type language, so here after seeing that two data types cannot be added, I am showing you the new statement that Python is a strictly typed language. Observe this, very, very important. Means if you have two integers, we can add. If you have two strings, we can add. But you cannot have two different data types. That's one thing you should be aware. Sir, what if I need to add two things which are of not same type? So for that, we need to go for something called as type conversions. Means if you have an integer and string, in this case, you are not able to add. Now we have like converters like int, string, float like that. Either you convert both to integers or convert both to strings. In either way we can do. Just to show you the output, I'm showing. This is like a string just to show you the visualization in the output. But this is the actual logic. If you see, you have one as an integer, other one is a string. As you cannot add both of them, you converted the string to an integer. Similarly here, integer we converted to string. Now if you see in both cases, what happened? In first case, both were converted to integers and added. This is a 3. 2 plus 1 is 3. But in the second case, first one is converted to string, second one is a string. So this is what kind of a interview questions you will get, which will be a bit tricky. So string as a 1 plus string as a 2 will become 12. Sir, why? Just like combining two strings side by side. So like that you should see. Similarly, so what is this beauty of these converters like int, float and others? You can give any number, they can convert. So, but it should be like an integer. So int is a function which can convert anything to integer. But what if you give a floating point value? No. For floating point value, it doesn't work. Sir, seems like it is an integer, but it doesn't work. Okay, what if you give something like a int of something else, like say int of 2? It is nothing like an integer, right? So it doesn't work. So the conclusion is that either you give like this or like that. In both the cases, it will throw an error, which is what? Invalid literal for so and so. So that is what you understood. So now conclusion of what we have done previously. If you want to like combine two different data types, this is how we can do. Or you can do like a comma separated. Now we understood about the print statement, print function, how it is working, and in terms of the type conversions when you're working. So now the last part within the print statement, print function is that. So there is one more thing called as the escape sequences within this one. And one more thing I want to introduce you every time. Did you see that every time I'm running, a new cell is getting created? But did you see for the first time when you create, there are two types of cells we can create, either plus code or plus markdown. Till now, by default, it is creating code only. What if I want to create a markdown? So the beauty of notebooks is that it is not just for executions, but even writing statements for like an English language such that people can understand what's happening. So you can think like a documentation. So within that, if I write something, so it will be treated like that. So what is the markdown syntax is very simple. Just it works with a commas and spaces. You see, for the first time when I added, it is doing like this. Just because it has one white space. You see now, this time, I have, so escape sequences, I gave one space and a tab and worked. Now did you see what's happening? So just it's a very simple thing you can do in one time. You will learn. So what are escape sequences means? Any sequences which have some importance and they will not be present in the output that we create. So now I want to work on these escape sequences, how they work. Starting initially, I will give like, these three statements. With these three, you will understand very clearly. If I do like a hello world Python, so then what happens? It will print. Here, hello world Python. There were some slash t's. And in the third case, hello world /n. Observe the difference, you will understand that. So if you carefully observe, for the first statement when you got, maybe if you want, I can do like multiple statements also. Yeah, now I think it's much more clear for you. When you don't have any escape sequences, it is printing whatever is there. But when you have these escape sequences, did you see that in the output /t didn't come, but its presence was seen. /t means a tab space. So instead of a /t, you got like a tab space, right? Sir, who told to give it like this? Those were like predefined. That's why we called as a predefined escape sequences. So similarly, if you see in this case, /t was given, you got a white space. And apart from that, you got a /n. /n means going to the new line. See, after the world, it has gone to the new line. So Similarly, if you sometimes you have a code where you want to don't read them like an escape sequences, then how? If you see in this case, I did like a slash t. I have like a 2/n. So, or like you write like this. So what I'm trying to say, in this case, you want to treat only the slash t, sir. Slash n is part of it. So then you don't want it. So you can go like this. So if I execute like this, what will happen? Did you see that slash n didn't come like a new line, but slash n came in the output also? So whenever you want to escape some slash, you write a one more slash before it. Sir, what if I have 10 such things? You cannot go to each of them and do. In that case, you need to write a R before it. When you write a R, it is called as a raw string. Did you see? Even slash t is also not affected. What's in? Instead of a tab space, even you got slash t also. So that is the difference. A simple use case in real world, I will tell you. Say like I have a folder called as C:/my folder, my/new folder. Did you see genuinely by understanding as a human being, we can understand it's a new folder is the name of the folder. But what Python recognizes /n means new line. It tries to move the cursor to the new line. But we don't want like this to happen. So what is the solution? So we need to write a slash before it. Okay, sir, for /n there can be anything. So for /t there can be another thing, right? So like that we cannot go to each of them. That's the reason, especially when you go for Windows paths, it's a tricky thing. We need to write like this slash. So we want both the slashes to execute. So if you see now, for the first case, it is working like this. But in the second case, it is working perfectly. Or sir, I cannot go to each of them and write a slash. That is difficult. Then in that case, write an R before it. Then it becomes a raw string. You can see the output. Now coming back to our print function. So coming back to our print function, say I want to write some documentation. It is already a code cell. I want to convert it to like this. So if I need to convert, so then what I need to do? Escape M. So escape. So if I do like an escape M, it becomes like a markdown cell. So or else you can click here and change to the corresponding thing, whatever. And why Jupyter Notebook is beautiful is that we can work on any of these languages within it. Stated that you have a kernel connected, something installed, and we can do. So now coming to this print function. So in the print function, we have this one, right, as I told. So we can work on these things. Data, till now we know what is separator. Now for the first time, you are seeing something called as end. So what is this end and what it does, I will show you. Initially to understand, if I say like print hello world, did you see after printing hello, did I tell it to move the cursor to the next line? No, in Windows it will in Python it will automatically happen. Oh, unfortunately, previously it was a markdown cell. Now it created again a markdown cell. That's which is not executing. So if I want to change it to Python, I can change. Now change it to Python now. If I execute it, you will notice. So like this. Now did you see after hello, world came by default. Now, if I explicitly write like this. So here we don't write, but the default is like end equal to /n. Now you understood what is /n. Now if I execute also, it will be hello world. Did you see? It's going to the new line. Now similarly, what if I give like a something else? For the first one, I give a __. For the second one, by default, it is /n. Now did you see? After the first one, it came like this. So what if I write like something else, say /t I give. So then what will happen? After the first line, it is not going to the new line, but doing like this. What if in a particular print statement, I have multiple values? When I have multiple values, separator will come, right? So default separator is white space. And after that, I go to like end. See, one statement of commands, and then it is going to the second statement with a separator as an slash d. Similarly, so in this case, separator was default. But if I give like explicitly separator also, now in this case, you see, in the first case, all the values are separated by semicolon and then a slash t, tab space, and so and so. Like that, I can give like a different kinds of separators and see. So these positions doesn't matter. So you can give this first or that first, either way. Different kinds of separators and how they are working. Now, so like this, escape sequences. I showed you two big escape sequences, which are slash t and slash n. There are other things called as slash b, slash f, like that. These are not that much important, but still you can learn something about it. What do you mean by slash b? So you will understand one statement and slowly you will realize. Did you understand what happened here? Okay, let me show the importance without that, and with that you will understand the difference. HEI. Did you see there is an E also? The moment I did like a slash B, where is the E? The previous character got vanished, right? Or overwritten. Sir, what if I have nothing after it? HE, I have a slash B. I have nothing after that. Earlier I have an I, that's why it is overwriting. In this case, I don't have an I. Even if you don't have an I, did you see it was removed? Means previous character it will remove. So if I do like this, then what will happen in this case? Every time the previous character will be removed. Did you see? 12, so 2 was gone. So T was gone in the output. And in this case, it is in the starting. So when it is in the starting, you don't know which one to remove. And it became like that. When it is in the last, it tries to remove the last character. So hope you understood how things are working. Now going back, similar to the slash B, there is one more interesting called as slash R. It's like a typewriter. You can imagine how typewriters works in the old way. So this name of slash R, slash on also came from that only. Slash R means from the starting, it will try to overwrite. So if you see this example, you will understand. So the most important thing is the last example, you can clearly understand. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something it did, and you did a slash R, cursor has gone to the starting, and it is trying to replace. So only DOG we have. Did you see? Only the first 3 characters were overridden. In this case also see A, B, C, D, E, F, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then A, B, C, D only replaced, because after slash R, how many are there? Only those are replaced. Similarly, on first, you are replacing second. So whenever the second word is larger, you don't even see the first word. See, both are equal, you are seeing the same thing, right? 34 directly. So like that, it will overwrite from the starting. That is the difference between slash B and slash R. Similarly, we also have some other characters with different escape sequences. So there is one more escape sequence called a slash U. Slash U is the word for Unicode characters. I told you in real world, English is not the only language, not only the keywords that you see on the keyboard or the characters. There are much more characters. For every character, there is a unique name given. So there is one standard body. So under the UTF code. So this is like independent of languages, nothing to do with Python. So if you do for this thing, as the you are seeing, there are specific UTF characters for each of the things. And lastly, there is one more escape sequence called as /x. Slash small x or slash capital X doesn't make much difference, but it works. So if you know hexadecimal numbers, how they work, we have the values from A to Z, sorry, A to F, right? Yeah. So 0 to 9 and A to F. So for any numbers, we have like this. So we can do. So in the same fashion, like hexadecimal, you have octal numbers also, /O. Octal numbers means what? 0 through 8. So you have the values. So instead of X like this, I'm giving like a O. So octal numbers will not have any value like a F or something. So if I do like this, did you see? Certain characters can't be printed. So they will have different importance. Let's say you have like a backspace, tab, all these things are also characters only. So not everything on your keyboard also you will print, right? So like that, some characters you cannot print. That's what I want to say. And also within a print function, you can write any characters within the quotes. Everything will be printed as it is. So this is all about the print functions. So hope it is clear for everyone. And the last point here that you need to understand is about the keywords.